All right, you guys, this is one of my favorite things to try to explain. So stay with me. I'm Amy Logan with amyloganlife.com, your faith crisis life coach. And today I want to talk about our thoughts and why it's so hard for us to work through the thoughts, especially when we are talking about the opinions of others and how the opinions of others influence us. All right, so stay with me here. We often get very worried, and I talked about this a little bit in a video a few times ago, where when we're trying to make the decision to have our name removed from the temple or from the church, and we're very worried about the opinions of grandma or mom and dad or our children. So it's kind of along those lines. When we worry about what other people think, that actually comes from a very primal part of us, a very primal part in our brain that worries about survival. Okay, so long time ago, when we just had to survive to live, and we were worried about losing tribe. Okay, we were worried about that. That was survival, to be part of a tribe where you hunted and gathered and you lived together and you worked together to survive. If the tribe no longer liked you and kicked you out, that could mean death. Okay, so that is a very primal part of our brains. It's way back in our DNA, and we are still dealing with it. And I think we live in a fascinating time where we have made so many advances technologically in this world that we live in, that we are now living in a time where we're dealing with our brains. We have time to deal with our brains. We're not just trying to survive every day, for the most part. And so now we're dealing with all of these thoughts. Okay, so when you are worried about what someone's thinking about your decision to leave the church, to stay in the church, to do something else, whatever, you can apply this to whatever. You're worried about what they may be thinking. All right, so first of all, you're worried about what they may or may not be thinking. You don't know. Of course, maybe they've told you. So you're like, yeah, I know. But you're also making decisions for yourself because you've now experienced this faith crisis, right? You've experienced this. Now, the person who's judging you or telling you the opinions and thoughts that they're having, they haven't experienced the faith crisis. So they're having thoughts and feelings and opinions because they're coming from their own paradigm, right? They're coming from their experience, which is in the church. And so, yeah, they're having thoughts and opinions about you leaving, and now you're making different decisions that they can't understand because they haven't been to it. They haven't been through it. And so you're kind of staying stuck in this place of fear, afraid of what they're going to think. But what else could they possibly think? What else could they possibly be thinking is best for you other than their experiences that they've had in the church? So I want you to kind of process that, because you're staying stuck, and you will continue to stay stuck with any plans of moving forward if you're giving this much power to the person whose thoughts and opinions that you are thinking they're thinking. And like I said, they may not be, they may be, but how can they understand what you've gone through when they haven't gone through it themselves? And so there's so much power. Our brains are fascinating. And this is where the work is. It's in doing the work that's going on in your head, because you're staying stuck because of what someone else is thinking. Now, maybe you've mentally left the church, right? You've mentally made that decision and you feel really good about it, but you're still staying stuck and talking about it and not sure how to move forward. And then that spills over into, well, how do I raise my kids? I don't want to disrupt their developmental growth. What if you leaving the church is the best thing that ever happened to them? And we've talked about that before too in past videos, but I really want you to process this. This is kind of, I don't know if we ever look at our brains this way, at how powerful the thoughts that we have, just our own thoughts. And then we have thoughts about someone else's thoughts. And we don't really know their thoughts unless they've written you a letter and put it all down on paper or told you this. But you're still staying in that space, feeling stuck, because you're afraid you're going to do or say something that's going to upset someone else. Once you get to the point that you're okay that they may be upset and that they're a grown person and they're going to have to deal with it on their own, you won't feel so stuck anymore. So when you think of your brain as it's trying to solve this puzzle, right? It's trying to solve this new paradigm that you find yourself in. And then you're basing decisions off of the paradigm someone else is in. And you see how that just can kind of loop and loop and loop, and you're never going to get anywhere. until you like push yourself out of it, which you can do. And that's the thought work that I focus on every day when I'm working with my clients. So just try to process that and think about how our brains, the DNA, all that is in us is still developing and evolving. And so we're fighting some of those primitive things that have been handed down to us from way long ago. So that just might be a new way for you to look at it, and how you're managing your mind around all of that. Even though you may feel like you're spinning in this faith crisis, don't be making decisions on what someone else is thinking about your situation, because you're the only one that knows it the way you know it. All right? So hang in there with your mind. Really work on the thoughts that are going through your head, because your thoughts create a feeling, and that's where we tend to get stuck. You can do just the opposite. You can create thoughts that create feelings that help get you to where you want to be. So don't give that power away to somebody else who may be thinking something or maybe not be thinking something about you. It's big, good stuff, you guys. I seriously love this. So anyway, there's my thoughts about other people's thoughts and how come that's so hard when you're in it, because we're fighting our own DNA and primitive brain. All right, you guys? So hang in there, keep going. Head over to my site, amyloganlife.com.